Good morning, students. Today I want to discuss with you the questions and answers of a truly beautiful mind. Okay, now let us discuss the questions and answers. Explain what the reasons for the following are. Einstein leaving the school in Munich for good. Okay, so in my live class I have already discussed with you the entire lesson, isn't it? But I haven't discussed with you the questions and answers. But I have laid special emphasis on this part of the text where Einstein left the school in Munich for good. That means forever, isn't it? So what were the reasons? Why did Einstein leave the school in Munich forever? Why? Because he found that the school in Munich was very stifling, isn't it? The discipline of the school was too strict and he hated the strict discipline of the school. He somehow felt that his creativity could not be expressed properly in that strict regimentation of the school, and he always had clash of opinions with his teachers, which is why he finally thought of leaving the school in Munich forever, isn't it? See, and the answer is given below. For those students who find difficulty in writing their answers, you can write down the answers from here. Okay? Now, the second question. Einstein wanting to study in Switzerland rather than in Munich. So we know that somehow he could convince his parents that he wanted to relocate to Switzerland and pursue his studies in Switzerland rather than in Munich. Why was it so? The answer is similar to the first question. He found that Switzerland was a more liberal country than Munich, isn't it? Which is why he thought that he should leave Munich immediately and relocate to Switzerland to pursue his further studies, because he thought that Switzerland is a place where his ideas will be welcomed rather than in Munich, which is a very strict city. Okay, now the third question. Einstein seeing in Mileva an ally. Okay, now ally is a friend, you can say. So Einstein saw in Mileva a friend. Okay, now what was the reason that Einstein could relate with Mileva, or their frequencies matched? Because Mileva was also against the Philistines. Now I have already discussed with you who are these Philistines. Philistines are those people who were against art, literature and music. So both Einstein and Mileva were against the Philistines. That means those people who were against art, literature and music, because both of them were fond of art, literature and music, which is why Einstein immediately felt attracted towards Mileva, because she was also a kind of a rebel like Einstein, isn't it? So the answer is given to you here. You can write down the answers if you wish. The fourth question. What do this tell you about Einstein? Okay, now tell me what he's leaving Munich and settling in Switzerland and falling in love with Mileva. What do these things tell us about Einstein? That definitely he was a genius, isn't it? He left Munich for good because he thought that his ideas will not be welcomed in Munich, because the school was too strict and the teachers did not welcome the new ideas, innovations which were there in Einstein, isn't it? So he wanted to live his life in his own terms. He liked freedom, isn't it? Which is why he left Munich and settled in Switzerland. So these are the things that we come to know from this, right? Now, the next question. What did Einstein call his desk drawer at the patent office and why? You remember, he called his desk drawer the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Bureau means office, that small drawer, okay, the desk on which he used to work, okay, in that patent office, and the drawer where he used to keep all the papers, important papers. He called that drawer the office of his theoretical physics, because all his experiments and calculations, all his innovations, where the papers were all kept inside the drawer, which is why he refers to that drawer as the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Okay, now the next question. Why did Einstein write a letter to Franklin Roosevelt? Do you remember? He shifts from Germany to USA. Why? Because Germany was at that time ruled by the Nazis, who ruled by Hitler, and democracy was almost nil there, isn't it? Democracy has already vanished there, and it was a totalitarian government, you can say, dictatorship government. So he knew it very well that his ideas once again will be rejected in Germany. So he immediately immigrated to USA. And after reaching to USA, since he was himself a scientist, he knew it very well that Germany was undertaking some kind of secret, a secret experiment on taking out an atomic bomb, isn't it? So he tried to warn Franklin Roosevelt, the then president of America, about it, which is why he wrote a letter to Franklin Roosevelt warning him that if a single bomb of that magnitude falls anywhere in the port of USA, it will not only destroy that port, but it will also destroy the other parts of the country. Okay. Now next, how did Einstein react to the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki? We know that he was completely devastated, isn't it? That the atomic bomb had claimed so many lives. He just wanted to warn President Roosevelt, but he never thought that Roosevelt will, plant a bomb and drop a bomb in the two cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And when it was dropped, many people, many thousands of people died because of that bombing, and he was completely devastated. He was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction, and so he wrote a public letter, official letter to the United Nations, isn't it? We have read this part. Okay, why does the world remember Einstein as a world citizen? Why do you think that Einstein should be referred as a world citizen? Because he was not only a scientist, isn't it? He was not only confined to his laboratories or his experiments or innovations, but he also was a great humanitarian, isn't it? Because he felt so deeply when America dropped the two bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which had claimed so many lives, which is why he is referred to as world citizen. And we know that during the later part of his life, in the last decade of his life, he was actually campaigning against what? Against all the nuclear piles that all the countries were hoarding, isn't it? So he tried to use his popularity to campaign against those nuclear piling in all those countries, isn't it? The world remembers Einstein as a world citizen because he believed in universal peace. He knew that war was not the right solution for anything, isn't it? So he propagated universal peace. When there was the rat race for becoming atomic power, soon after this World War II, what happened? Every country tried to show off their atomic power, isn't it? And they were piling up nuclear weapons, and that was worrying him a lot because he knew the magnitude of destruction that those nuclear bombs or the nuclear weapons can cause to humanity, isn't it? So he was really a world citizen because he was concerned about humanity, right? Next, a headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession would not matter because he will never make a success at anything. Okay, so this is a reference to the context kind of a question which you will get in your exam. Okay, so Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. Okay, now what was the headmaster's opinion about Einstein? The headmaster's opinion was that Einstein was good for nothing, isn't it? So he called his father once and told him that your son is of no good. So whatever profession he chooses, it really doesn't matter because as it is, he's not going to become successful, isn't it? Why did Einstein learn to play violin? He learned to play violin because his mother wanted him to play violin. Okay, now find a word from the passage that means having great natural ability. Okay, what is that word? That means a great natural ability. It is gifted, isn't it? Gifted is a word which means that having great natural ability. Okay. Now, Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction. This time he wrote a public missive. That means a public official letter. Missive means letter to the United Nations. We all know that United Nations was formed after the end of World War II, isn't it? League of Nations was changed into United Nations. In it, he proposed the formation of a world government. Okay, unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. Okay, earlier he wrote a letter to the President of America, Roosevelt, and which had made a great impact, on the mind of Roosevelt, which is why he dropped two bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But this one failed to make any, impact on United Nations. So what did Einstein write and to whom? He wrote to United Nations that some kind of world government should be formed so that the entire thing can be regulated by them. Okay, that means whatever nuclear weapons are being created by different countries can be regulated by this world government. Okay, so that world government can interfere and stop such kind of wars in the future time. Okay, why did he write a letter to Roosevelt earlier? So we have already discussed. He tried to warn Roosevelt that Germany may take a drastic step. Okay, and so America should be ready for it. But he never thought that America would, on the contrary, drop bombs on Japan, isn't it? So he wrote a letter to Roosevelt trying to warn him that the magnitude of bombing can be very devastating on America, isn't it? Find the word from the extract that means a long and official letter. Okay, missive is that word which means a long and official letter. Okay, the pair finally got married in January 1903 and had 2 sons, but a few years later the marriage faltered. Name the pair referred to in the above lines. We know that initially Einstein's mother was against the wedding of Einstein and Mileva, isn't it? Because she found that Mileva was, first of all, she was 3 years older to him, and secondly, she was very intelligent. So she thought that if both of them come together and try to live together, there will be clash of opinions and the marriage will falter. And this is exactly what happened after few years of their marriage. After few years of their marriage, they had two sons, but the marriage faltered. That means the marriage failed. Okay, and they divorced, isn't it? So what happened to the marriage? Second question. The second question would be the marriage, failed, and so they finally, they were divorced. Which word from the extract means became weak? Okay, faltered is that word which means to become weak. Okay. Now, he also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Mileva, Mary, whom he found to be a clever creature. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines, those people in his family and at the university with whom he was constantly at odds. Now, who is this clever creature? We know, and the young Serb, both these phrases here refer to Mileva, isn't it? She was very smart and intelligent, and she was a young Serb because she belongs to Serbia. She has come from Serbia. Okay. Why did the young Serb come to Switzerland? Because she wanted to pursue her higher studies and complete her degrees, because during those days not many universities in Europe offered degrees for the women. What was the attitude of Einstein towards this young Serb? He found in her a friend, an ally, isn't it? Because both of them had similar kind of thinking. They both were against the Philistines, isn't it? Okay, thank you students. That's all.